station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is station. We are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, this is station. We have you loud and clear. How us?
Got you loud and clear. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hi, I'm Frank Lucas, Chairman of the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee, and I'm proud to represent Kingfisher in Congress. And I'm excited that our students have the chance to ask questions about life aboard the International Space Station. Conversations like this spark an interest in STEM fields that can last a lifetime. This is a very exciting time in our nation's space program, as the Artemis missions begin our journey back to the moon and then on to Mars. Who knows? Maybe one of the students we hear from today will one day land on Mars. Let's dream big. Now, let's get to the first question.
Hi, my name is Ethan Karcher, and what I want to know is how you guys exercise and what do you do to work out?
All right, well, Representative Lucas and Kingfisher High School, welcome to the International Space Station. On behalf of Expedition 69 and the entire NASA team, it's an honor to have you guys up here with us. So Ethan, we actually exercise about 2 hours every day, and that's because it's really important to help us maintain both our muscular and bone health and our cardiovascular health. And so we primarily use three machines. One is called ARED, which is a resistance machine. It uses 2 vacuum cylinders and a couple of flywheels to provide very similar resistance to what you would feel if you were lifting free weights back on Earth. And so we do a lot of lower body exercise on that machine. And then for our heart health, cardiovascular health, we can either run on the treadmill or we can use a stationary bike called iss069m262261609. The fun thing about the treadmill is that you're actually running facing the ground because, again, up here in microgravity, there is no up or down, and so it just happens to fit best against the wall, and we run facing the floor. And then the cool thing about iss069m is that it doesn't have a seat, and that's because you don't need to support your upper body. So you use shoes to clip in like you would into a road bike or a stationary bike with clip-in shoes, and you just pedal while holding yourself in place with your hands.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Long, and I was just wondering how long it took you to train to be on this mission.
Hey, Wyatt. Yeah, and so training as an astronaut is a continuous process. When you first get selected, for me, more than 20 years ago, and for Frank, just a few years ago, it's about 2 years of training before you're actually eligible for spaceflight. And after that, you're continuously training and maintaining your proficiency. But when you get assigned to an actual specific mission, it's about 2 years of training to cover both the International Space Station training that's specific for your increment and what's been updated since you were last proficient, as well as the vehicle that you're going to be riding on, whether it be Soyuz or Dragon or Boeing in future missions.
Hi, I'm Angela Munoz, and I'd like to know what the most unfavorable thing about space is.
Hey, Angela. That's a great question because there's a lot of awesome things about being in space, but there's a couple of things that are kind of hard. Probably for most of us, the hardest thing is being away from our loved ones for a long period of time. But there's also a lot of physiological changes that happen to our bodies that can be really hard. We're exposed to a lot more radiation up here because we're outside of our atmosphere, which provides a lot of protection for us back on Earth. Also, the fluid shifts that you have because of microgravity can affect some people's eyesight, can affect how you feel. You can get a lot of congestion and some headaches because a lot of that fluid that is normally in your legs ends up in your upper body. And then also, one of the biggest things we find is that because we're not walking, we're not standing, we lose a lot of muscle and bone density in our legs. And that's why we exercise so much lower body exercises, and that's to provide that resistance to hopefully maintain our muscular endurance and our bone density, which helps us when we get back on Earth.
Hi, my name is Reed Witt, and I would like to know what you guys do with your trash on the International Space Station.
Yeah, we do generate trash here on the International Space Station. We try and reuse and minimize the amount of trash we do generate. We obviously recycle all our water, but we find multiple uses and reuses for most of the stuff we have coming up here. But we do generate trash. A lot of it gets burned up. We put it on resupply vehicles. The Cygnus resupply vehicle we have now, when it comes back to Earth, it'll actually burn up on entry, and we'll have loaded it full of trash, things that are disposable. We do have other ways of getting rid of trash. We actually used one of our Dragon resupply vehicles, and we flew some of it back down to Earth successfully. And we also have the NanoRacks airlock, which can be used for trash disposal as well. And that's a airlock that's attached to a different part of the space station. It's a little different than this airlock. It actually goes on the one of our hatchways, and then you take it off, they turn it away with using the robotic arm, and they can release trash. So we do have a few different ways of getting rid of trash, but we really try and minimize the amount of waste we have.
Hi, I'm Audrey Long. How do you adjust to life after seeing how small you are compared to Earth and space?
Hey, Audrey. You know, that's a really insightful question, because I think when you're up here, you do appreciate how small we are as a space station, especially as a people. And also, you know, you're humbled by the fact that you're up here representing the NASA team, our nation, and all of humanity. I mean, there's only 7 of us up here in space right now on the International Space Station. You also look down at the Earth and you realize how unique it is as you look out at the rest of our solar system, and really for the most part you just see blackness. And so all of those things hopefully combine to make you feel like you need to be a better person when you come back to Earth, that you need to represent the team well, and that you need to be kind to others, because really, again, our Earth is all we have, and so we need to protect it and protect each other as we move forward.
Hi, my name is Andrew Long, and I'd like to know what re-entry is like.
Yeah, so re-entry, it's all similar for every vehicle that leaves the International Space Station in a sense. You depart from the space station, you do a series of burns to take you safely away from the International Space Station. And then for entry, my previous 3 flights, I was on a space shuttle, and for entry we came in and we landed on a runway, which was really nice. But your entry through the atmosphere on all of the vehicles is very similar. The atmosphere slows you down as you come in. So you do a deorbit burn to slow down initially. That allows you to enter into the atmosphere, and as the atmosphere gets thicker and thicker and you descend into it, there's more and more drag. There's also more and more heating. So we get plasma evolved, which is that orange glow what we will all see as we're re-entering. For Soyuz and Dragon, they both land under parachutes. The Dragon lands in water and the Soyuz will land on land. And those rides are similar. You'll have drogue chutes that will pull out and you'll feel that. And then you'll have the main chutes will pull out, and you'll really feel that when they catch the air. And you'll slow down, and hopefully we'll gracefully touch down on the water for us and on land for Frank.
Hi, I'm Savannah Rehrman, and I was wondering, what is the most interesting question you've ever received about your career path, and how did you answer it?
Hey, Savannah, first of all, we really like your jacket. You know, I think the most interesting question I've been asked, or most difficult question, is what was my biggest failure? And I think that's a really important question, because it's important to know that even as astronauts, maybe especially as astronauts, we fail a lot. And it's okay to fail. It's not okay to fail because of a lack of effort or because of a bad attitude or because you just weren't ready when you could have been. But it is okay to fail because you're trying really hard things or you're challenging yourself. Matter of fact, if you're not failing, you're probably not doing that quite enough. And so you want to challenge yourself even as you have successes as you go on. You know, for me, I've been lucky enough to have several careers at this point. And along each path, I've had major setbacks or major speed bumps that I hit. But always I was able to learn from it, kind of pick myself up, and continue forward and be better off because of those experiences.
Hi, I'm Brantley Johnson, and I would like to know, what do you do for entertainment?
There are a lot of options here for entertainment. Just being here can be entertaining. Floating never gets old, so if I just hang out here, this is actually kind of cool. So that's a good thing. We do have movies. If we want to watch movies, you can look out the window. We can take pictures. There's some musical instruments on board. But really, it's just a lot of fun to hang out with your crewmates. They're great people, and they're really a lot of fun just to hang out with. They're always very entertaining.
Hi, my name is Emmy Lunsford, and my question is, how many people does it take to maintain the International Space Station, and what is one tool that you can't live without?
Hey, Emmy, you know, that's one of the best parts about being up here is the fact that we are a part of an amazing team, and that team is actually represented worldwide. So we have mission control centers, as we call them. The main one tends to be at Houston, but for the Russian segment, their main control center is in Moscow. And then a lot of our science goes through Huntsville, Alabama. And our international partners, the European partners, have a control center in Munich. And then our Japanese partners have a control center in Tsukuba in Japan. And so you get to talk to all those people throughout the entire world almost every day. And so that's a really cool part. So I would say it takes hundreds and possibly thousands to keep this incredible machine running. Up here, we only have 7 people at a time. Sometimes it's a few less, sometimes it's a few more, but on average, it's about 7 people. And, you know, the one thing that I think that we can't live without, well, there's several really, but it's important to realize we have to maintain a small, essentially miniature Earth environment on here on the space station. And so the air that we breathe is really probably the most important thing that we have to keep an eye on. And so we have machines that scrub the bad things out of the air, and then we have oxygen generators that use electrolysis to produce oxygen. And without those, we would probably have to leave the space station pretty quick, probably within a few days.
Hi, I'm Colton Livingston, and I'd like to know, what was your craziest experience as an astronaut?
Oh, my craziest experience as an astronaut. That's hard to say. It depends on how you define crazy. Every launch has just been absolutely amazing. And then the EVAs I've managed to do, spacewalks, they've been absolutely amazing as well. It's hard to say what my craziest experience. That's a tall task, actually. But it's always been so enjoyable, and we've been so well trained, and things are so well understood. Crazy is probably not the right word for it, but exciting. It's incredibly exciting opportunities, and I'd probably put my spacewalks and some of the events during them probably at the height of that.
Hi, my name is Josh Finley, and my question is, what do you do if you get sick on the International Space Station?
Hey, Josh. Well, actually, Steve just pointed to me because I'm the resident doctor on board right now. But actually, we all get medical training, and sometimes you don't have a doctor on board. And we all go through some pretty rigorous training to make sure that we can help each other out while we're up here. One of the things that we do is we try not to get sick. We try to stay healthy, and we actually quarantine for a couple of weeks prior to launching. Now, we're all familiar with quarantine after the past few years, but we've been doing that ever since the International Space Station started. And that's because you basically don't want to show up sick. And once you're up here, you're really only exposed, like I said, to about 6 other human beings. And because we're all generally pretty healthy, you don't have a whole lot of new viruses that you're exposed to. So generally, we all stay pretty healthy. And then we're really careful, and we try not to get hurt while we're up here, because that would probably be one of the highest risk things, is having an injury that we just couldn't deal with up here and maybe force us to go home. But for the most part, the team keeps us incredibly safe, and we stay pretty healthy up here.
Hi, I'm Addison Price, and my question is, how do you wash your laundry?
Addison, we don't wash our laundry. We actually throw our clothes away eventually, but we wear them for several days or weeks, or in case of some items, pants, for instance, maybe a month or two. So we really don't wash our laundry. We basically throw it away. And that's sort of an issue going forward. Water is such a precious resource, and how would we clean these items? And So far, we've determined that the most efficient way to manage that is basically throwing our clothes away. As we go further into space, that'll become less and less of an option, so we're going to have to find ways of cleaning. And there are different ways of getting things clean. We're just going to have to introduce them on board and in space at some point.
Hi, I'm Trace Dieterdean. I would like to know if you get any days off on the mission.
Hey, Trayson. Yeah, we do, actually. Most of the time we get the weekends off. And sometimes we get the major holidays off, like Christmas or Thanksgiving, 4th of July. Sometimes we have to work during the weekends or during those holidays, especially for things like spacewalks or if there's a new spacecraft coming up or leaving. But for the most part, the team really tries to give us a few days off a week. And that's because we work really hard during the week, and it's just important to kind of recuperate on the weekend so that you're ready to go for another week's worth of science and maintenance the following week.
Hi, my name is Cooper Davis, and how big is your living space?
Cooper, actually, we've got a lot of room on board the International Space Station. It is a laboratory, however, and there's wires and computers and power supplies hanging off of everything, so it's really not a living space. Our actual little living spaces that we live in is about 3 foot by 3 foot and just over 6 feet high, and that's called our crew quarters. And we have a computer in there, and that's where we sleep. But we actually just use the whole volume, which is about as big as, they say, a 5-bedroom house, essentially, which is very spacious for the 7 crew members on board. So you have a lot of living space, but it's not the type of living space where you have a couch and a TV and can just kick back and relax.
Hi, I'm Brody Bowden. How do you deal with working under constant pressure?
Hey, Brody. I think the best thing that you can do is just be really well trained, and the team does an amazing job of that. And so when you show up here, your training has been so good that generally you don't feel a ton of pressure. Now, we do have cameras everywhere, and the team's watching, and obviously we're doing a lot of important science. This is the most expensive thing ever created by human beings. So there is a little bit of pressure to make sure you don't break things. But our training is fantastic. We also practice on doing a lot of high-pressure things back on Earth. We'll fly supersonic jets. We'll go out into the wilderness to do some training. We do underwater training. We train for our spacewalks. And all those things kind of combine to help you deal with that pressure and just kind of remain calm even in stressful situations.
Hi, my name is J.W. Struck, and I was wondering, how do you like living on the International Space Station?
So living on the International Space Station is pretty fantastic. They maintain it in a very comfortable way. We do have the ability to rest once in a while on weekends. We have some time off. The most difficult thing is being away from home and family. So Frank has been up here for almost a year, and he'll pass a year before he gets home. We've been up here for 6 months, and obviously it's very comfortable. I feel pretty well rested, pretty well ready to go, and so living on board is pretty comfortable. They really try and take care of us. And as we go further and further into space and have longer and longer missions, that becomes even more important. Food, sleep, your schedule, your ability to communicate, all those things impact your quality of life. And they're really important things that we need to understand before we do more.
I'd like to thank our students for taking part in this event today and for asking those insightful questions. And I'd like to thank NASA for giving the students of Kingfisher the chance to express their curiosity and learn firsthand from an astronaut about life in space. I encourage you to keep that sense of curiosity and keep learning throughout your lives.
Station, this is Houston ACR, and that concludes the
All
event.
right, Representative Lucas, thanks so much. And to the students of Kingfisher, take care.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.